playoff edition of the warm-up where everybody's going to be trying to take off work, have a little small case of playoff fever. Got to take off Thursday and Friday. If your team didn't make it, you can go anywhere you want to. But before we dive into the playoffs, man, did you have any thoughts on last week? Because there's a lot of winning your in games and a lot of power struggles at the top of some districts.
Yeah, well, Summer Creek's 27-0 win over North Shore completely surprised me. You know, the Bulldogs defense shut down the Mustangs, including quarterback Caleb Maryland. Did you see the stats? 49 yards passing on 17 attempts, and he only had 4 rushing yards on 16 carries. They completely shut him down. I'd be worried a little bit if I was North Shore right now, but I'd also be worried if I had to play Summer Creek in the postseason.
The class of 26, that's the first time ever beat North Shore, and this is how it starts next week. It starts with 64, then it gets to 32, then it's 16, 8, 4, 2, Summer Creek!
If they play that kind of defense, because if you really think about it, they're 9-1. They really only had one bad half the entire season.
Yeah.
First half against CE King, and they really stormed back, and they actually almost shut out CE King in the second half, but they were in too far of a hole. That's definitely not a team you want to play in the postseason. And there is a chance, if we ever get a chance to look at the brackets, maybe previewed 3 rounds deep, chance of them going up against Katy, which would be a monster matchup there in the third round if that happens.
Yeah.
But we have playoff games this week, and let's get that started in the lineup. We're going to start off with Atascocita and Dickinson. This is a barn burner. Atascocita struggling on their defensive end, which probably gives Dickinson an advantage, but maybe break down this game of the week for us.
Well, Dickinson is coming off a 66-27 win over Deer Park, where they had 651 yards of total offense, including over 500 by halftime. It was 45-7 Gators at the break, and they never looked back. Dickinson completed their 4th undefeated regular season in program history. They also broke their own 48-year-old record of as far as season scoring record. So, you know, the bottom line is speed kills. Dickinson has it. I want to dive a little deeper into last week's game because Dickinson just simply dominated Deer Park. Gators quarterback Lorenzo Aguirre was 9 for 19 with 300 yards passing and 5 touchdowns. His main target, Caleb Peterson, listen to this, 4 receptions for 200 yards and 3 TDs. What a stat line. Hey, that's an average of 50 yards per catch. And then Braden Glover also had 4 receptions for 127 yards and 2 TDs. They were just clicking on all cylinders. Jace Washington played well. Taven Gomez had 112 yards and 13 carries on the ground. Defensively, Ricky Casimir had a 56-yard pick six. Bottom line is they were up 59-7 with 9 minutes to play in the third quarter. Game over. Might want to work on those special teams. They did give up a couple of big touchdowns on that side. But I tell you what, Atascocita finished 4th in District 23 6A. They did score 468 points this year, but 295 was what they're giving up. That's the big issue when you're going up against Dickinson. The Eagles finished the regular season with a convincing 70-0 win over Channelview, Jalen Hurts' old team, and then they beat Goose Creek Memorial last week, 56-7 to end the regular season. So they're on a bit of a roll. Carde Mack playing better. He did throw for 163 yards and 4 touchdowns with 73 on the ground. Brian Manuel picked up 147 yards and 4 scores, all that in that last game against Memorial. Of course, Carde, All-Day Mac, and receiver Brian Manuel, that is definitely the big 1-2 combination for them. Atascocita has been performing well recently. They've won 4 out of their last 5 by a margin of 45 points per game. I know their schedule was kind of top-heavy, and they now are playing some of the weaker teams in that district as they finished out. But they are clicking on all cylinders offensively. And, they're going to have to find a way to stop Aguirre, though. That's the key for the Eagles, and I think the key for Atascocita on top of that is to get a good game by Carde Mack. You might remember, Mack threw for over 1,900 yards and 18 TDs last year, not to mention 2,000 yards rushing and 22 TDs on the ground. So he can take over a game really easily. So bottom line is the winner of Dickinson and Atascocita will likely get Pearland in the second round as the Oilers. Yeah, they're gonna play Fort Bend Travis. And can you imagine undefeated Dickinson and undefeated Pearland in the area round?
Doesn't get easier. It doesn't get easier. And then you talked about how Atascocita's schedule was top heavy. Yeah. Dickinson's was late in the season where they may actually end up working out for them because they're not getting any easy opponents in the first round of the playoffs. So maybe they're playing on a roll here. it's hard for me to bet against Carday Mack, but man, if that defense doesn't make at least 2 stops, it doesn't matter where he's running around to, it's going to be tough to beat that Dickinson team. So it's going to come down to that defense for sure. And probably the most competitive game in the state is Waller against Tomball this Friday night up at Tomball ISD Stadium. I mean, this is a Waller team that hasn't made the playoffs in about a decade, and they're back in it, and they're playing some really good football. But Tomball, we don't know if we're getting regular Tomball or playoff Tomball, because playoff Tomball goes 4 rounds deep. So we'll find out, and you'll find out specifically because you'll be at that game.
Yeah, well, Waller 7-3, 5-2 in district. Tomball 8-2, 6-2 in district play. Waller finished tied with Bridgeland in District 16 6A, but the Bears had the head-to-head tiebreaker. Both teams were 5-2. Waller quarterback TK Gaines is the key for the Bulldogs. He finished the regular season with over 2,000 yards passing and 500 yards rushing. And I tell you what, that is with missing a game because he played for Team USA baseball. He also only played about half of last week's game against Cypress Park. Now, Waller running back Robert Carter leads the team in rushing, about 150 yards per game on the ground, and Caden Sherry is the main receiving threat for TK Gaines. Tomball has some offensive firepower, though. They are averaging about 418 yards per game, 231 on the ground, 188 in the air, very balanced. The Cougars are led by quarterback Jackson Falden, who is averaging about 186 passing per game. His go-to target is Hunter Rathke, very fast, blazing speed. And I like the way Ian Thomas runs the ball. More speed, but he can also do the ground and pound thing. He's averaging about 122 yards per contest. And they got some great defensive players, too, in Braden Schneider, who's averaging about 11 tackles per game. I think this is going to be the most competitive by-district game out of all of the games in the Houston area. So I'm with you right there. The Waller-Tomball winner, as you know, will play the winner of Westfield and Willis. So some interesting games, but definitely Waller-Tomball right at the top.
Yeah, exactly. They got a good chance of playing the best player in the state when they go up against Willis and Jermaine Bishop.
Yeah.
Sorry, Jeff. I don't really have any faith in 14-6A to pick up a win. Pick up a win in the playoffs. Don't tell nobody. Let's talk about another 15-6A versus 16-6A matchup. Bridgeland, who's kind of pitter-pattering around at the end of the season here. They're winning against teams by 1 point that they should beat by 20. I don't know if they're banged up or not, but they're taking on a Klein Collins team who really have shown stuff for us this year at 9-1.
Well, Bridgeland 7-3, as I mentioned, 5-2. Klein Collins 9-1, 7-1 in district play. Think about the Bridgeland Bears. I went back, I was checking out some of their highlights against Cypress Woods. They were down 21-0 in that game. Cash Schwab rushed for 232 yards, pretty much everything from like the second quarter on, had 3 touchdowns for Bridgeland, who might have been looking towards the postseason, I'm guessing, because, Cy Woods only had 1 district victory in 16-6A. Schwab with over 1,100 yards rushing and 15 TDs, while Tyler Beagle has had close to about 1,600 yards passing and 200 on the ground and 21 total TDs. I'd look out for their receiver, though. Henry Soyan, he's the leading threat at that position. He got open a whole bunch when they were playing Waller. I was at that game. He's a big threat. As far as Klein Collins, it's all about that ground game and some defense. Braden Scoggin, their quarterback, he gets it done. He's tough around the end zone, scores a lot of those 20 touchdowns down there inside the 5-yard line, averages about 80 yards per game on the ground, close to 1,600 yards passing with 11 TD passes, 4 of which have gone to receiver Aiden Benford and 2 more to Tydrick Finley, who are both big play threats. I think their 4 main threats on the ground, though, and I said 4, in addition to Scoggin, are DeMarcus Jones, Ja'Shawn Jackson, who are both around 70 yards rushing per game, and Tice Hudson, who actually leads the team in rushing. That's all kind of happened here late in the season. He and Randall Jackson are threats near the goal line with about 13 touchdowns. The winner of Bridgeland and Klein Collins gets the winner of Aldine Davis and the Woodlands. So, again, just you got to try to win these early games and figure out how they're going to beat Klein Collins. Not sure, but Bridgeland has surprised me before.
It's true. And, Jeff, that's going to be the Woodlands that wins. Again, another dig at 14-6A. I'm sorry. You guys haven't played very competitive football this year. All right, I had a chance to talk to KD Cinco Ranch head coach Chris Dudley. We talked about their season and their upcoming matchup with Fulshire. And let's take a look at that in the Media Day segment.
The Houston area Chevy dealers. Visit your nearest Chevy dealer to test drive our award-winning products. Serving up the best treats and eats in Texas. Stop by DQ and treat yourself before and after the game.
Yeah, I am joined with Cinco Ranch head coach Chris Dudley. Coach, we are heading into the second season. If you put all of the first 10 games in perspective and you look back on them, how prepared is your team for this playoff run? Because I know you guys want to have a long playoff run. Are you guys ready for not just Fulshear? Well, you have to one at a time, right, Coach? You're going to give me Coke speech. Yeah. Are you ready for your postseason run is what I'm going to say.
Yeah, I like where we're at right now. I think when you look back at the season, we accomplished what we needed to in the non-district part because we scheduled 2 quality opponents with the Woodlands and Tomball, and we were able to find some things out about ourselves early on. And even though we went 0-2, I felt like we were prepared to start district play and all that. And having Katie at the front end too, I know that was our 3rd loss, so we're sitting there at 1-3. At that point after 4 games, and our kids just stayed the course. They understood the big picture on things. We knew we were a talented football team that was better than our record indicated. And, then we entered kind of the gauntlet of the 19-6A schedule. And I think the thing that stood out for us is, we've won 6 games in a row, and 5 of those games were extremely close, 1-possession type games over that course there. And, that can only help us this time of the year. So we feel like any type of game we're involved in come playoff time, whether we're down or up or close or whatever it is, I think our kids are prepared. I think our kids would be calm in all those situations. And I do feel good about how we're playing right now. I think we're playing our best football at the right time of the year.
It's funny because you covered a lot of stuff I wanted to talk about in one answer, because that 1-3 for the casual fan, they're like, 1-3, let's go ahead and put them off to the side. We don't have to worry about them this year. But you guys accomplished what you wanted to accomplish, because then you play tougher teams in your district like Jordan. You pull off a tough win against Bay Creek. You took care of Tompkins in a tough win. And you got to feel like some of those earlier games got you prepared for that, because these are all teams that are in our coaches poll or in our top 20. Some of them are right around where you're at. I think that we have you at 15 or 16 right now. But here's what I want to talk about, because I'll send freelancers to your games. I won't give them a lot of background. I'll just say the records of the 2 teams. Every single time we've had 3-year times, all they want to talk about is root. I was like, well, root for the home team if you want to. But tell me about him and how he's progressed as a quarterback for you.
Yeah, Davis's story is a unique one. I think some people are aware of it, some people aren't. But he was a kid that got called up in the 3rd or 4th game of the season his sophomore year because of injuries off the JV team. And just that sophomore season just really lit it up. Threw for 1,700 yards and did a really fantastic job for us. The kid that got hurt came, he battled back from a leg injury that next season, Charlie Adomely. And Charlie and Davis duked it out, heading into last season. And Charlie, in a really spirited battle competition there, Charlie beat him out on it fairly. And Charlie had a great senior year. And Davis, in this day and age, it was refreshing to see Davis. He didn't go seek another school. He didn't pout. He didn't do all that stuff. He was, a great supporter of Charlie. And he continued to get better even last year as a backup quarterback for us. And then, here we are his senior year, and we knew what we had going in, that he was a very confident, capable quarterback that could do the things he's doing. And it's a credit to him too, though. He put so much time in terms of watching video in the cerebral part of the game. Where most, we're extremely lucky that he is driven along those lines. And our offensive coordinator, our co-offensive coordinator, Larry Edmondson, is our quarterbacks coach. And, he's helped develop him since he came in as a freshman, which is a great deal. He didn't play quarterback as a junior high kid. He was a receiver type kid. But a lot of times that's good because he comes in and we can develop the habits he has from day one when he got here. So, extremely impressed with Davis and what he's done this year.
Well, it's going to be a fun game, Coach. Your battle-tested Cinco Ranch squad is going to go into the playoffs with the home game. We'll have a camera there, and I appreciate you joining us today.
All right. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
The Houston area Chevy dealers. Visit your nearest Chevy dealer to test drive our award-winning products. Parker University. Check out our bachelor's degree in strength and human performance today.
The warm-up is brought to you by Kinder's Texas Bowl. The Big 12 and SEC face off at NRG Stadium on December 27th. Join the waitlist for tickets at kinderstexasbowl.com.
All right, Coach, thank you very much, and good luck Friday night in your game with Fulshear. But let's get into the agenda, because in the agenda we're going to talk about some second-tier games, but they still could be pretty good. Like, for instance, Cy-Fair against Houston Lamar. They play a lot in the playoffs. These two districts seem to line up every time, even during realignment. Cy-Fair ends up playing Lamar a lot. In the olden days, this was a big matchup. Right now, it's kind of under the radar, but it still could be very competitive.
Well, I mean, the fact that both teams are 7-3, the difference is Cy-Fair is 5-2 in district play. Lamar 6-0, playing in an HISD district. You know, Cy-Fair's been a little inconsistent this year. They'll win 2, then lose 1, win 2, then lose 1. But they are coming off a 52-3 win over Northbrook. So if you do your math, they're up for a win here. But, you know, we'll see how things shake out. Cy-Fair is led by Arnell Fontenot, who's averaging over 100 yards per game on the ground. Their quarterback, Sean Riegler, is doing a great job, about 263 through the air. Henry Lamar Brooks Jr. averaging just under 100 yards receiving per game. So Cy-Fair, they're balanced with 399 points this season while allowing a pretty high 276 points this year. And that brings me to Lamar. After starting 0-3 against the likes of Atascocita, Summer Creek, and Clear Springs, they've won 7 straight, including a 6-0 record in District 18 6A. And Lamar always plays that tough non-district schedule, and then they'll get into some HISD battles with teams like Heights and Bel Air, who are both in the postseason at 6-4, 5-1, 4-2 district records respectively. But Lamar beat those teams 43-10 and 49-0. So Lamar, they're led by Larry Sanders on the ground, who averages about 80 yards per game. Cade Mansour is averaging 115 yards passing per game, while Jaden Robbins is also filling in nicely with similar stats at quarterback, and Cruz Herrera is the leading receiving threat. By the way, winner of Cy-Fair and Houston Lamar plays the winner of Katy Pato and Straight Jesuit, Johnny Abear. We'll see, but, you know, I would lean towards Cy-Fair, but, you know, Lamar was very competitive early in the year against that tough competition, so we'll see.
They're a hard team to scout because they'll pull their starters at halftime in some of these HISD games, so you're not really sure what they got. You got to go all the way back to like week 3 and 4 and when they're playing tougher teams to figure out what they really got going, and those guys gotten better through the year, so difficult team to scout. Another difficult team to scout is Ridge Point, and everybody who scouted them haven't come up with a formula to beat them. They're playing Pearland Dawson, who's been in and out of the coaches' poll for top 20. They're a solid team, and it's a team Ridge Point does not need to overlook as they see North Shore waiting in the next round. This could be Ridge Point's year. This could be their year to go state semifinal, state final game, but they cannot overlook anybody. They got to go out there and play ball against Dawson.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, Ridge Point undefeated for a reason. Dawson 7-3, 6-2 in district play. They lost a heartbreaker to Manville last week, 38-31. That was the game where quarterback Luke Brown had about 120 rushing yards on 11 carries. He can throw it as well. Their stud is Corey Brown, no relation. He had 3 touchdown rushes last week against Manville, a team Dawson actually led 31-21 late, but didn't find a way to close it out. Manville rallied to win, holding off a very late Dawson rally. But, you know, Corey Brown, he's kind of the do-it-all receiver, running back, hybrid kind of, you know, receiver guy that has got 13 touchdowns. He'll need to have a great performance to beat Ridge Point. The Panthers have not really been tested all season. They've been outscoring their opponents. Listen to this, 555-97. They are the top team in the Houston area on our weekly coaches poll for a reason. Tons of talent, especially in the skill position, but they're loaded up front, too, on that line of scrimmage. Brody Bartee is the one who kind of gets it going for them at quarterback, 1,800 yards passing, 25 TD passes. He can get the ball to Aiden Akins as running back. You know, and that's the thing. They run the ball really well, too. They've got over 2,000 yards rushing as a team and 2,600 yards as passing, and that's when Brody's out of the game, too. So you can see that they have some big blowouts, and they get their backups in also. Winner of Dawson and Ridge Point plays the winner of North Shore and Deer Park, and they're both coming in off bad losses. We talked about North Shore. Of course, Deer Park got blown out by Dickinson.
Yeah, that's going to be a North Shore Ridge Point game for sure if Ridge Point doesn't fall into the trap game against Dawson.
Yeah.
Let's finish things off with the sneaky good game in 4A. I think this is a good game because, Houston ISD, it had been years since they got a playoff win until last year. Worthing beat Thorpe and Crawford in the first round. That's a big celebration here. I think this is going to be year 2 where an HISD lower school, not named Lamar, gets a district win gets a playoff win because Yates is playing incredible ball. They're taking on Needville at Rhodes Stadium in Katy. This could be a chance for Yates because they're undefeated and they're playing some good football.
Yeah, 10-0. Needville 5-5, just 2-3 in district play. They were the 4th place team in their district. The Needville Blue Jays are led by Kobe Campbell, who averages 107 yards per game and 16 touchdowns, and quarterback Cameron Hall, 12 TD passes. Carter Hett, Ralphie Ortiz, and Caden Jakubik are the receiving threats for Needville. But in just watching some of their games, some of the highlights, they like to do the ground and pound and beat you with some good defense as well. Yates, I tell you what, talking about teams that outscore opponents, they've outscored their opponents 532-64. And Jordan Simmons is a big reason why. He leads the team in receiving, plus also is their top rushing back, and he's got 13 touchdowns. Their quarterback, Chip Brown, can also get it done, over 1,300 yards passing, 17 passes, plus 11 on the ground. Winner of Needville and Yates plays the winner of Lumberton and Pine Tree. Don't know as much about those two teams, but I can tell you, Yates has got to be really confident right now. I mean, they've been blowing out everybody. They got the rhythm down on what they need to do. They need to stay focused, find a way to beat Needville, and we'll see what happens in round 2.
Yeah, we'll work on round 2 after we're done with round 1, right?
All right.
It's coming up, man. I know half the high schools in Texas, their teams didn't make the playoffs, so that's a lot of fan bases that can go out and catch a lot of different games and teams they haven't seen yet. So Thursday and Friday, get yourself out to a game. Even Saturday, that Woodlands game is Saturday night up at Thorne, so go catch a game Saturday night as well. We're going to leave you now with the coaches' final rankings of the season. We got Ridge Point at top, as we said. We'll see how the other stuff flushed out. Go see some playoff action. You see Jeff Power there. Say hi to him. He'll say hi back. And we'll see you all next week.